She was studying ginger, and I just remember ginger. But it was, so we went sugar cane, so we went to a lot of these different farms and stuff also.
Yeah,
But
that would be fun.
And now they don't grow sugar cane. And I saw a whole plant, I don't know if it's called plantation, but they're converting it over to citrus trees. Lemons, oranges, limes,
Still grow a lot of pineapples there.
and then pineapple.
pineapple, yeah, we
Yeah.
went to pineapple.
But no
I
sugar
imagine
cane.
because environmentally,
Right.
sugar cane's kind of a mess.
Right. And that's why he doesn't do it anymore, apparently.
Plus you grow plenty of it in Brazil.
We are, this is the board meeting and we're getting ready to go in about 5 minutes, everyone. So if you just hold on, we'll wait for our board members to join the call.
John, did you get your information for your bio?
I did, I just sent him.
Just saw it. Hard to believe it's the middle of January, isn't it?
I know, and I saw you sent, when you sent that out, I'm going, hey, I feel like such a slacker.
Well, it's a couple months till spring, right?
That's right.
That's what I keep hoping.
You have another date in mind, don't you?
That's right.
She doesn't care about the weather.
She has that ring
Yeah.
tied up where she tears off a ring
Yeah,
every day.
probably.
No, I don't.
You don't have a countdown on your...
That's on my phone.
Oh, there you
Every
go.
morning it wakes me up. He says, "This is day number." No, it doesn't.
Yeah, my wife had a countdown for the trip to Hawaii, so every day I'd learn how many days it was till the trip. Julie, are you back on the phone?
Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Oh, okay. This is EJ. Just checking.
All right, EJ. It's okay, you can make some noise.
I'm gonna put you on mute because I'm chewing ice.
I thought you were going to say you put me on mute so you wouldn't have to listen to me. Julie, are you on?
Yep, I just joined.
Okay. I have 12:59, Julie, so let's just wait just a moment.
Okay. Is everybody else on?
I don't know yet. We do have Joel here in person.
Oh, okay.
He's got his sled dogs parked outside.
Yep.
Yeah, they're eating snow. Rolling around.
Okay, Julie, we have 1 o'clock.
Okay, do you want to call the roll, Brett?
Sure. Dan Breitbarth. We had a contact from him that he couldn't make it today. Joan Corbin.
Present.
EJ Giovanetti.
Present.
Barry Lindahl.
Hi, Monica just joined.
Barry Lindahl.
We're just,
Joel McRae.
Here?
Monica McHugh.
Present.
Julie Pottorf.
here.
Jackie Schmeling.
Present.
Barry Lindahl.
Here.
Okay, Julie, you have 7 board members present and 1 absent.
And we start off with a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Barry.
Second, Monica.
Okay, moved by Barry, seconded by Monica. All in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Any? That sounded reluctant, EJ. Any opposed? Nope. Next, approval of the December 15th minutes.
Julie, this is Margaret. Did you want me to review the electronic meeting guidelines before we get too far into the meeting?
Why don't we go ahead and approve the minutes, and then we'll do that.
Okay.
This is EJ. I move approval.
Thank you.
This is Joan. I would second.
Okay, moved by EJ, seconded by Joan. All in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Margaret, if you want to remind everybody of our procedure for electronic meetings, that would be helpful. It's also printed on the last page of your agenda.
Yes, I will do so at this time. It is an electronic meeting pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.8. Due to the today the weather, winter weather, and the brevity of the agenda, and the guidelines, our guidelines for electronic meetings are: 1, each agenda item will be called in order. 2, IPIB staff will introduce the agenda item. 3, other parties to the agenda item will be asked for comment. Complainant first, then respondent. 4, the chair will ask IPIB members for comment and will be called on alphabetically. 5, the chair will request a motion and second. 6, there will be a roll call vote on each agenda item to be voted on. 7, we request that speakers other than IPIB members identify themselves before speaking. Only speak when the chair acknowledges you. 8, place phones on mute, not on hold. And 9, speak directly into your phone. Please, no speakerphones.
Thank you, Margaret. Do we have anybody who wants to use public forum time to speak? If you're on an agenda item, you can wait and do that at the time your item is taken up. Nope. Okay, let's move on to comments from the board chair. Let me give you kind of an update on the executive director search process. We had a committee meeting less than an hour ago. February 1st is the cutoff for applications. I think we have 5 or 6 so far. The committee will meet again on February 3rd and go through the applications and select probably 3, depending on what kind of applications we get. It might be as many as 4 to interview, or as few as 2. And then the interviews will take place at the next board meeting, which I think is February 16th. It will make for kind of a long meeting day, but we'll break it up. I think we talked about it convening at 11, and we can get the board business out of the way, take a break, and then come back for the interviews. We will contact people who are selected to interview, and at that time, I think we'll notify them of their right to request a closed session, not for the interview, but for the comparative discussion among board members. That's the part that I think might be harmful to someone's reputation. They're being compared unfavorably to the other interviewees. And then the board can deliberate on who their selection is come back out in open session, and someone will make a motion to extend an offer to the person we have selected in closed session. Anyway, that's the time frame. And as you may recall, to my surprise but pleasure, the state of Iowa will let the positions overlap so we can start the new director before Margaret leaves, and she has some training period to work with that person. So it'll be, I think, a big adjustment for all of us to have a new director, but I'm hoping this process will come up with a good candidate. Any questions about that?
Julie, this is Joan. Just for clarification, you said that 11 o'clock meeting, or the start time for the 11 o'clock meeting will be our February meeting?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And just get time to get the agenda covered and still have time to interview, which I think is probably going to take about an hour per candidate. I really want everybody here in person, especially for the interviews. I think that's hard to participate by phone and get the best, best judgment of how people do in the interview process if you're not here to see them in person. So please make every effort to be here. Next item on our agenda, advisory opinion. I gather that's still under construction, Margaret?
That's correct.
Takes us on to the action agenda. Our first case, Rodney Anderson and the Messina City Council. Margaret?
Yes, this is case number 22FC0079. Rodney Anderson is the complainant, and the Messina City Council is the respondent. It comes before you as a probable cause report. This complaint was filed on August 20th of 2022, alleging that the Messina City Council violated Iowa Code Chapter 21 on June 22nd, 2022. He alleged that the council had a properly noticed meeting set for June 20th. That meeting was canceled, and the notice of cancellation was noted on the City of Messina's social media page. However, he alleged that the council then held a meeting on June 22nd, 2022, without any posted notice at either the normal places of notification or on social media. City clerk contacted the IPIB by telephone on September 6th and indicated that she had forgotten to post the amended notice for the rescheduled meeting, and legal counsel also indicated the same information. Mr. Anderson had also alleged a violation of Iowa Code Chapter 22. However, the only information on that was a request for records that he had not yet made or made for the first time in the complaint. The IPIB accepted this complaint on November 17th, 2022, pursuant to Iowa Code Section 23.9. IPIB staff proposed an informal resolution with the following terms. One, that the council will acknowledge that the June 20th, 22 meeting did not meet the notice and agenda requirements of Iowa Code Chapter 21. Number two, that the council will ensure that future council meetings will be noticed and conducted following the requirements of Iowa Code Chapter 21. 3, the council will schedule and hold a training session concerning the requirements of Iowa Code Chapter 21. The training would be open to the public. The council can arrange the training through the Iowa League of Cities or with the assistance of the council's legal counsel. The PowerPoint presentation available on the IPIB website could be used for training materials. And 4, the council will approve this informal resolution in an open meeting and include the entire text of the informal resolution in the council meeting. The terms were to be completed within 90 days of the approval of all parties. And upon the successful completion of the terms, the IPIB would then dismiss the complaint. Under legal analysis, I've indicated and provided to you the full text of Iowa Code Section 21.4. Both the legal counsel for the council and the city clerk stated that the failure to repost the notice was an inadvertent mistake. Legal counsel has since provided a checklist for city staff to follow to ensure that proper procedures are followed in the future. The council has also voluntarily completed all the recommended remediation terms and provided documentation to IPIB staff. Mr. Anderson did not approve the proposed informal resolution. The only comments he made were by telephone, and he stated that he wanted additional changes to the procedures that are not required by Iowa law. I can recall one of them was to turn the light on outside the city hall when they were in session so that people could readily see that they were having a meeting. But the rest of the actual proposed terms were provided to both parties, and the city voluntarily did all of those requested remediation efforts. The IPIB has several options upon receipt of a probable cause report. You can redirect the matter for further investigation. You can dismiss the matter for lack of probable cause to believe a violation has occurred. You can make a determination that probable cause exists to believe that a violation has occurred, but as an exercise of administrative discretion, dismiss the matter. Or make a determination that probable cause exists to believe a violation has occurred, designate a prosecutor, and direct the issuance of a statement of charges to initiate a contested case proceeding. My recommendation is based upon my investigation. I would recommend that the IPIB determine probable cause does exist to believe that the Massena City Council did violate Iowa Code Chapter 21 by failing to properly notice the rescheduled meeting on June 22, 2022. I further recommend that this complaint be dismissed in its entirety as an exercise of administrative discretion pursuant to Iowa Administrative Code Rule 497-2.24C, as the council has completed appropriate remediation pursuant to the request of IPIB staff.
Okay, do we have the respondent on the phone, the complainant or the respondent on the phone, and would they care to speak? Mr. Anderson, are you with us? Okay. Anybody from the Massena City Council? I guess not. Let's move on to asking board members for their questions or comments.
Joan?
Brett?
Joan?
No comment. No comments.
EJ?
No comment.
Barry?
No comment.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Just that this is a classic case for administrative discretion to dismiss. People have been very cooperative.
Jackie?
No comment.
Can I have a motion then in that event? I think the motion would be to dismiss in our administrative discretion.
This is Barry, so moved.
This is Jackie, I second.
Okay, moved by Barry, seconded by Jackie. We'll need a roll call vote. Brett?
Joan Corbin?
Aye.
EJ Giovanetti?
Aye.
Barry Lindahl?
Aye.
Joel McCray?
Aye.
Monica McHugh?
Aye.
Julie Potoff?
Aye.
Jackie Schmeling?
Aye.
Julie, that's 7-0 unanimous. Approved.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is KBAX and the City of Fontenelle. Margaret?
Yes, this is case number 22FC0100. Kate Bax is the complainant and the City of Fontenelle as the respondent. It comes before you as an informal resolution report. This complaint was filed on September 14th, alleging a violation of Iowa Code Chapter 21 on without a proper vote on July 22nd of 2022. The city provided a copy of the agenda and the minutes for that meeting. The agenda did not list the closed session. The minutes did not indicate the votes of the members present to go into that session. The IPIB accepted this formal complaint on October 20th, 2022. Pursuant to Iowa Code Section 23.9, the parties agreed to the following terms. And those are listed as terms 1 through 5. That there for your review. The terms are to be completed within 90 days of the approval of all parties. Upon successful completion of the terms, the IPIB will dismiss this complaint. Ms. Bax approved and signed the informal resolution on December 9th. The city approved the informal resolution on December 23rd. I recommend that the IPIB approve the proposed informal resolution. Direct the IPIB chair to sign that informal resolution, and we will set the matter for compliance review in accordance with the terms of the informal resolution.
Okay, do we have either the complainant or someone for the respondent who would care to address the board? Nope. Board members have questions or comments? Brett?
Joan?
No comment.
EJ?
No comment.
Barry?
No comment.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Nothing.
Jackie?
No comment.
Boy, we're on a roll here, aren't we? Can I have a motion from someone to approve the informal resolution and set the matter for compliance review?
McCray, so moved.
EJ, second.
Okay. Moved by Joel, seconded by EJ. Roll call vote.
Corbin?
Aye.
Giovanetti?
Aye.
Lindahl?
Aye.
McCray?
Aye.
McHugh?
Aye.
Potter?
Aye.
Schmellen?
Aye.
Julie, that's 7 votes in favor and 0 opposed.
Okay. The next item on our action agenda is a blast from the past, Adam Klein and the Burlington Police Department. A report from Margaret.
Yes, this is case number 15 FC 0034, Adam Klein and the Department of Criminal Investigation and the Burlington Police Department. This complaint was filed on May 15th. Somebody, I think, is making a little background noise there. This complaint was filed on May 15th, 2015, alleging that the Department of Criminal Investigation and the Burlington Police Department violated Iowa Code Chapter 22. It was accepted on September 17th, 2015. On December 15th, 2015, the IPIB found there was probable cause to believe a violation occurred and ordered the filing of a contested case. That contested case was filed. The hearing was held on July 20th of 2018. The IPIB issued a final order on February 21st, 2019, finding that DCI and BPD did not violate Iowa Code Chapter 22. On March 22nd of 2019, Mr. Klein filed a petition for judicial review in the full county district court. The district court dismissed the review petition for a failure to exhaust administrative remedies on March 23rd, 2020. This was appealed by Mr. Klein to the Iowa Supreme Court. On December 20th, 2021, the Iowa Supreme Court issued an opinion affirming in part, reversing in part, and remanding the case to district court with instructions. Subsequent to that decision, the parties entered into a settlement discussion. The settlement has been reached to release the disputed records and dismiss the district court case. That's attached as Exhibit 1. Mr. Klein approved the settlement through council on December 2nd of 2022. The city of Burlington approved the settlement on behalf of BPD on December 19th of 2022. As there is no further action to be taken or matters to resolve concerning this formal complaint, it is appropriate to dismiss the underlying formal complaint 15 FC 0034. It's recommended that the IPIB approve the dismissal of this formal complaint and direct the chair to sign the dismissal order.
Okay, do we have Mr. Klein on the phone? Or anyone from the City of Burlington Police Department? Nope. This is pretty straightforward, but let's go see if board members have any questions or comments. This is a procedurally long and complex case. Brett?
Joan?
No comment.
EJ?
No comment.
Barry?
No comment.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Nothing.
Jackie?
No comment.
Can I have a motion then to dismiss the underlying case?
This is Monica, so moved. This is Jackie, I second.
Okay, moved by Monica, seconded by Jackie. Roll call vote.
Corbin,
Aye.
Giovanetti,
Aye.
Lindahl,
Aye.
McRae,
Aye.
McHugh,
Aye.
Potter,
Aye.
Schmellen.
Aye.
Julie, that's 7-0, unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is Michael Merritt in the City of Newton. We have a final report. Margaret?
Yes, this is case number 22FC0071. It involves Michael Merritt as a complainant in the City of Newton as a respondent. This comes before you as a final report. This complaint was filed on July 20th of 2022, alleging a violation of Iowa Code Chapter 22. And he alleged the following violations that are listed there for you. Of the allegations listed, only numbers 9 and 10 allege possible violation of Iowa Code. This complaint was accepted by the Iowa Public Information Board on September 15th of 2022, pursuant to Iowa Code Section 23.9. The parties negotiated an informal resolution and agreed to the terms listed there on page 2 of the report. That was approved. That informal resolution was approved by Matt Brick on October 12th of 2022, and on behalf of the city, and by Mr. Merritt on October 13th. The IPIB approved the informal resolution on October 20th of 2022. Both parties cooperated with fulfillment of the terms of the informal resolution. A fee review was distributed to the parties by the IPIB Executive Director on December 28th, 2022. That is as term 4 in the informal resolution. That's attached in its entirety as Exhibit 1. That provides a little more detail in terms of the review of the actual fees. And both parties agreed to the analysis presented in this fee review. On January 12th of 2023, Mr. Merritt stated he would pay the modified fee proposed by the city for the release of the records. The terms of the informal resolution have been completed. It is recommended that the IPIB dismiss this complaint as successfully resolved.
Okay, I'll see if board members have, do we have either Mr. Merritt or someone from the City of Newton here who'd like to speak on the phone? Nope. Board member questions or comments?
Joan?
No questions.
EJ?
None.
Barrett?
No comment.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Nothing.
Jackie?
No comment.
Okay, since this has been successfully resolved and completed, I need a motion to dismiss the underlying complaint as successfully resolved.
So moved, Barry.
Joan. This is Joan, I would second.
Okay, moved by Barry, seconded by Joan. Roll call vote.
Corbin?
Aye.
Giovanetti?
Aye.
Lindahl?
Aye.
McRae?
Aye.
McHugh?
Aye.
Potter?
Aye.
Schmellen?
Aye.
Julie, that's 7-0, unanimous.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is Zach Palmer and the City of Paulina. Margaret?
Yes, this is case number 22FC0123, comes before you as an acceptance order. It was filed on November 20th of 2022, alleging that the Iowa Department of Corrections, or DOC, violated Iowa Code Chapter 22. The allegation was that he submitted a request for public records on November 1st, 2022 for records including the Iowa prison industry's top 50 customers for each year based upon total purchases from 2010 to the present, also indicating whether the customer was an agency or voluntary. the total amount of annual purchases made by the University of Iowa, Iowa State University, and the University of Northern Iowa from 2000 to 2005, and from 2010 to the present, and University of Northern Iowa's total purchases in 2006. In response, the DOC estimated that fulfilling his request would require 64 hours of staff time at a salary rate of $45 per hour for a total of $2,880. Mr. Palmer alleged that the estimated fees were not reasonable as required by Iowa law. On December 2nd, DOC responded to the complaint. DOC stated that some of the records sought were in long-term storage and would need to be physically retrieved. Others would need to be collected into report form from data inputted into its computer network. DOC also included a copy of its fee policy, which sets the hourly rate for record requests at $45 per hour. When IPID staff asked how that figure was calculated, DOC responded that it was set by averaging the hourly pay of employees that work at the DOC central office. I would note that if you take a salary rate of $45 per hour, your annual salary is approximately $93,600 per year. Staff with many different job classification and pay are involved with processing open records requests from secretaries to deputy directors, and we felt that averaging the hourly pay was the most fair and equitable. According to Iowa Code Section 22.3, as amended on July 1st, 2022, it is required that the fees charged for retrieving and releasing public records be reasonable expenses, and the lawful custodian, as noted in the highlighted areas of the code section, the lawful custodian shall make every reasonable effort to provide the public record request at no cost other than copying costs for a record that takes less than 30 minutes to produce. All reasonable, in part 2, all reasonable expenses of the examination and copy shall be paid by the person desiring to examine and copy. And then as you go down further in that paragraph, the fee for copying service as determined by the lawful custodian shall not exceed the actual cost of providing the service. Actual costs shall include only those reasonable expenses directly attributable to supervising the examination of and making and providing copies of public records. Costs for legal services should only be utilized for the redaction or review of legally protected confidential information. Also, Iowa Code Section 22.3a, sub 2, sub c, states that the government body is responsible for costs of separating a public record from software. That section says, if a public record is only available as part of or in combination with data processing software in order to permit the examination or copying of the public record, the government body shall bear the cost of separation of the public record from the data processing software. Based upon the information presented by the parties, it appears the fees are not reasonable or not based on actual costs. By accepting this complaint, we would be able to monitor and determine whether or not there needs to be a modification in that policy in order to get it in line with current law. So at this point, we're recommending that this complaint be accepted.
Okay, do we have Mr. Palmer on the phone?
Yep, this is Palmer speaking.
Would you like to address the board?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that up until 2010, that on the IPI annual report, this was information that was publicly available, and as of recent of 2004, they also had a graph published about top customers. So I just don't believe that the fees are reasonable under the context of this information was transparent up until 2010, and then.
Thank you. Anyone here from the Department of Corrections who'd like to speak?
Yeah, this is Michael Savala from the Department of Corrections, and our response is in the order, and I just really wanted to be available for the board in the event you had any questions. I just did want to respond real quickly to the points raised by Mr. Palmer, is that the Iowa Code does not require Iowa Prison Ministries to put together an annual report. They used to do that in the past, which include that information, but their sales have dropped. They don't do the annual reports, and so that's why none of that information has been put into an annual report for so many years. So just wanted to clarify that. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, let's see if board members have comments or questions for either the complainant or the Department of Corrections. Brett?
Joan?
My question is asking Margaret, you mentioned what the yearly salary would be at that hourly rate. And so then I wondered, I don't see this in code, but how do you discern or monitor who the agency decides to have do that work? I mean, if they have someone who does that kind of oversight and record request responses, and their salary is large comparatively, like, tell me a little bit about how that's figured out or handled.
Actually, this is Margaret. Actually, that usually is a factual analysis based upon the actual city and so forth. In this case, there wasn't. It was an average salary that was just determined, which would cover both the lowest paid and the highest paid person doing it. And the statute's pretty clear in terms of actual costs, not a range of possible costs.
Okay, correct. Thank you, Margaret.
EJ?
Brett?
No questions.
Barry?
No comment.
Joel?
No questions.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Just a brief follow-up to Margaret's response to Joan. I think it is a factual question who the agency assigns. If they're assigning the director who gets paid the most to handle routine public records requests, that would be questionable. But I think to a large degree we defer to the agency of who they think is appropriate to handle that work. And it's ordinarily somebody at a secretarial level.
Jackie?
No comment.
Julie,
Okay,
that's
do
it.
we have, thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt the acceptance order?
This is EJ. I'd so move.
Second, Barry.
Okay, moved by EJ, seconded by Barry. Roll call vote.
Corbin?
Aye.
Giovanetti?
Aye.
Lindahl?
Aye.
McCray?
Aye.
McHugh?
Aye.
Wadorf?
Aye.
Schmellen?
Aye.
Julie, that's 7 votes in favor and 0 against.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Mary Radke and the City of Paulina, a probable cause report. Margaret?
And actually, I'm going to defer this to Daniel because he wrote this report and he'll present it for you.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. This is Daniel Strawn, legal counsel for the Iowa Public Information Board speaking. Yes, so this is case number 22FC0069. The complainant is Mary Radke, and the respondent is City of Paulina, and this is a probable cause report. Yes, so on July 21st, Mary Radke filed this formal complaint against City of Paulina. She alleged a violation of Iowa Code Chapter 22, stating that the city failed to provide a record that she requested. That record was requested on June 15th, 2022, from the City of Paulina Deputy Clerk Whitney Engelke. And the topic of the request was any business regarding the City of Paulina that was discussed between these people that are named, and which will eventually come before the entire council. And she specified that she was interested in various forms of communication, including text, telephone, email, etc. And she specified the dates. And so basically the city failed to produce the records, and Ms. Radke filed the present complaint. Tisha Halverson is the Paulina city attorney, and she stated on August 18th that she would submit a response to the formal complaint by the beginning of the next week. And thereafter, Ms. Halverson failed to submit a response and repeatedly failed to respond to inquiries by IPIB staff as to whether the city had produced the requested documents or was delaying or refusing production pursuant to a particular code section. So IPIB accepted this complaint on November 17th. IPIB made efforts to reach an informal resolution between the parties, and those efforts were unsuccessful. Again, there was contact between staff and Ms. Halverson in which she asked for more time to respond, and then after that, there was no response and no more further communication. So this is a probable cause report. Under Chapter 22, a good faith reasonable delay by a lawful custodian in permitting the examination and copying of a government record is permitted in certain circumstances. The city never attributed the delay here to any of those circumstances in that code section. And regardless, at this point, it's been over 6 months since the date of the request. So, I think that this has exceeded the most permissive notions of reasonableness, and we have no statement from the city as to a reason why the records should be exempt from production, and no statement, stating that it's refusing to produce them for a particular reason. We just have no communication. So, as far as what the board may do, you have a number of options. Redirect the matter for further investigation, dismiss the matter for lack of probable cause, make a determination that probable cause exists, but exercise administrative discretion in dismissing the matter, or make a determination that probable cause exists and direct the issuance of a statement of charges to initiate a contested case proceeding. And based on my investigation, I would recommend that you take the last option, which is make a determination that probable cause exists to believe a violation occurred, designate a prosecutor, and direct the issuance of a statement of charges to initiate a contested case. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Do we have Ms. Radke on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you care to address the board?
I want to thank you for hearing this case and not giving up on it. I would also like to clarify that when the request for those communications were submitted, it was submitted to 8 individuals for each of the other 7. So I asked for the communications between the then city clerk, the then deputy clerk, all 5 council people, and the mayor. So it was, I'm looking for how they communicated with each other, if there was any communications that might not have been there may have been more than 3 people on, say, a conference call. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that the request is to 8 individuals and their communications for that specific time period about city business with the other 7. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Do we have anybody on the phone from the city who would care to speak?
Yes, this is Tisha Halverson.
You have 5 minutes if you'd like to address the board.
Yes, I am requesting that the board stay this decision until next month. I believe that we can resolve this matter. We have had a couple of different requests and complaints from Ms. Radke, and we have entered into a previous informal resolution and I had some misclarification as to, I thought we were dealing with all of them as part of that process. So I did not realize that we still had distinct separate issues that needed to be addressed. The delays with regard to getting the information to Ms. Radke was just the overall volume of the request. And then we were trying to process whether any of the information was confidential or potentially geared at litigation, as we had a terminated employee during that time frame, and we were concerned as to whether or not there would be any litigation pending against the city with regard to that termination.
Okay, anything further?
No, I believe that's it.
Hold on, who was trying to speak?
I apologize for interrupting. This is Mary. I was just wondering if I could respond to what Ms. Halverson said.
Why don't we let Ms. Halverson wrap up and let the board members pose any questions that they may have, and then we can get back to you if you have something further to add at that time. Okay? Ms. Halverson, are you finished with your comments?
I believe that's it for now.
Let's move to board member questions or comments for either the complainant or the respondent.
Joan?
Yes, regarding the paragraph that speaks to IPIB accepting the complaint and then making efforts to reach informal resolution between the parties, those efforts were unsuccessful because Ms. Halverson failed to definitively respond. So I guess I'm curious as to why there wasn't conversation regarding what you just said to us about the delay and the confidentiality and a termination and so forth. It sounds to me like there wasn't a response.
Yeah, again, I was kind of confused with the whole process because we've been dealing with different complaints, and we were already dealing and had accepted an informal resolution, and I really thought that we were kind of covering all of that in one. I had talked with Margaret at the end of the summer about how we had pending complaints and how often when we do an informal resolution, everything's kind of covered under that and resolved under that, and I thought we were kind of doing that and going through the informal resolution process.
Thank you.
EJ?
I don't have any questions or comments at this time. Thank you.
Barry?
I had the same question Joan had, so I think that's been answered. So is the request here for a continuance? Is that where we are with this?
Yeah, I would request that you stay this and continue it to next month. I believe that we can communicate with the IPIB board and with Mary, and I believe that I can get her records that are not limited.
Julie, this is Margaret. I can certainly add some additional information. You'll notice that we have a pending complaint with Ms. Radke. It's 22 FC 0050. That one does have an informal resolution. The completion date of that was yesterday, so it was not timely enough for us to get that before the board. So we do have that ongoing. And we did have I had a conversation with Ms. Halverson on Tuesday of this week when she told me that that they were trying to get the information done for the informal resolution, and we had a lengthy conversation in which she said that she was going to try to get the information for this complaint out as soon as possible. So that kind of feels there's a little bit of confusion there because we do have two separate complaints, but one of them was filed and accepted prior to the other one being filed. So that was why we ended up with two complaints.
Okay, and the other one's what, item 8 under the pending complaints section of our agenda?
Correct, and that one will be back before the board at the February meeting.
All right.
Joel,
No questions.
Monica,
No questions.
Julie.
Just a comment. Well, the delay has been frustrating, I'm sure, for Daniel as well as board members. Given that there's another matter pending and the request is only for a month, it makes sense to me to try to wrap this all up on the agenda next month rather than embark on a contested case that will take several more months to complete. Those are my comments.
Jackie?
No questions or comments.
Well, let's see first whether anybody wants to make a motion to continue this to next month.
This is EJ. I have a question, maybe of Margaret, a procedural question. As you've indicated, the delay bothers me, and I'm not totally comfortable with the continuance under the circumstances. But I wonder if we could get to a reasonable point. If we combine this, can we move to consolidate this with the other complaint? Is that a possibility? That seems to make sense to me, but I don't know, Margaret, if that's consistent with our practices or not.
This is Margaret, we would normally do that if two complaints came in closely and were being reviewed and we're in the same stage. But now where we have one complaint that's on a different track than the other one, it's probably a little too late to actually do that consolidation. If we were to go forward with a contested case, we could consolidate the allegations in both of those because we wouldn't be fixed with one set of one incident. We could combine the two instances into a contested case proceeding, but unless they line up at the same stage in the process, it's pretty hard to consolidate because we would consolidate this one into the other one, but it already has an informal resolution, and if that's successfully completed, that one's set for dismissal, and that would leave this factual situation sort of orphaned from the whole system. It would mean that this would be dismissed and the other one along with the other one without having any kind of resolution. We had the same problem when we were at the acceptance stage where this one wasn't ready to go to the board to review for acceptance when the other one was already accepted.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm torn between a continuance and the finding that there's been a violation because based on what I can tell, there has been. But if it can be resolved, then I'm in favor of that as well. So anyway, I'm not quite sure what I do. Anyway, that's my observation. Thank you.
I guess we're back to asking for a motion. And I think, if we are able to resolve this one, it would probably state in the resolution that there was a violation due to the delay.
Well, Julie, this is Barry. Based on your comment, I'm not sure we want to go to the trouble of starting a contested case proceeding when there may be a likelihood that this gets resolved. So I would move to continue it for at least till the next meeting.
Do we have a second?
This is EJ. I'll succumb in second Barry's motion. As long as we get it done, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Motion to continue by Barry, reluctantly, seconded by EJ. Let's have a roll call vote.
Corbin.
Aye.
EJ or Giovanetti.
Aye.
Lindahl.
Thanks, EJ. Aye.
McRae.
No.
McHugh.
Reluctantly, aye.
Pottorff.
Aye.
Schmellen.
Aye.
Julie, your vote is 6-1 in favor.
Okay, thank you. The motion to continue is granted, but as you've heard from the discussion, Ms. Halverson, I would certainly urge you to have this wrapped up for the board next month.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda, Dakota Cellars and the City of Benton. Margaret?
Okay, just a sec. I want to make sure I'm getting all my paperwork in the right files. This is case number 22 FC 0118. It's between Dakota Cellars as the complainant and the City of Benton as the respondent. It comes before you as an acceptance order. This complaint was filed on November 11th, alleging that the City of Benton violated Iowa Code Chapter 22. He submitted a records request to the city on October 28th, requesting copies of all emails sent or received by the city administrator from October 21st through October 27th of 2022. The city responded they were having difficulties retrieving the requested emails due to a recent email server upgrade. The city also required payment of fees to begin retrieving the records. The fee estimate was not provided until after this complaint was filed. The fees were quoted at $1,295.75. This was calculated at 3 hours of IT time to retrieve the emails at $140.25 per hour, plus 5 hours of attorney review at $175 per hour. Later, the city added the email search would normally only require 30 minutes of IT time. However, due to the server upgrade, the IT department would need additional time to learn how to retrieve the emails. There was no information provided to explain why the city attorney would need to review the emails or why such review would require 5 hours. I've set forth in the order the language of Iowa Code Section 22.3, which as amended, and the amended information is the part that's bolded. Again, as in the previous complaint, actual costs includes only those reasonable expenses directly attributable to supervising the examination of and making and providing copies of public records, and costs for legal services should only be utilized for the redaction or review of legally protected confidential information. An estimate of $875 for 5 hours of review does not appear to be reasonable as required by Iowa Code Section 22.3. The emails are all public records that may or may not be confidential information requiring redaction. Iowa Code Section 22.3A2B requires a government body to utilize accessible systems when storing public records electronically. Subsection B says, a government body shall not acquire any electronic data processing system for the storage, manipulation, or retrieval of public records that would impair the government body's ability to permit the examination of a public record and the copying of a public record in either written or electronic form. Iowa Code Section 22.3A2C states that the government body is responsible for the cost of separating a public record from software. If the public record is only available as a part of or in combination with data processing software in order to permit the examination or copying of the public record, the government body shall bear the cost of separation of the public record from the data processing software. The issue in this complaint is whether the estimated fees comply with the requirements of Iowa Code Sections 22.3 and 22.3A. It does not seem reasonable that it would require 8 hours of employee time to release and review 6 days of one employee's emails. Based on the information presented by the parties, it appears the fees are not reasonable nor based upon actual costs. Accepting this complaint will allow the IPIB to work with parties to determine whether or not there needs to be a modification of the fee schedule or a modification of the fees proposed in this complaint. And you will note that there's a number of pages that were provided both by Mr. Cellars and by the City of Benton that were attached as comments. It's my understanding that Mr. Cellars is out of state and is not able to participate in today's hearing, and there should be somebody from the City of Benton, though, on the phone.
Okay, do we have Mr. Herman on the phone or somebody else for the City of Benton?
Yes, this is Doug Herman.
Okay, if you'd like to address the board, you'd have 5 minutes max.
Thank you. I heard everything that was said, and I appreciate everything that was said, and we have had a lot of back and forth communication. And I guess I would start by saying that the city has no objection and no concern with this matter being accepted, so that we can have further discussions. We've kind of already communicated that to the director during our back and forth emails. I would say that this complaint, when filed, was strictly tied to timeliness. Mr. Sellers was concerned that records were not being provided quick enough, and that emails, in this case requested, may disappear or may be intentionally hidden, if you will, and that was part of the reason for the delay. I would dispute some of the claims made. For example, at one point, I think the complaint notes or suggests that the city indicated the response time to collect these records would normally only be 30 minutes, but due to the new server, it would be longer. There are some emails from the city's IT rep, one of which I think he was away from the office, and he off the cuff said should probably only take about 30 minutes, but let me look into it when I return to the office. And I'm paraphrasing a bit. When he returned to the office, that's when he made the 3-hour time estimate. It would take 3 hours to retrieve these emails, about 200 emails in total. I would argue that the code section related to data processing software is not what was intended when it comes to downloading or collecting or otherwise putting together emails. This is not a data processing software system. It's an Outlook or Gmail or whatever the case may be. It's just retrieving emails. The complaint did not include a complaint about fees proposed to be charged by the city. However, we did provide some information to Margaret in regard to how the fees were calculated. Clearly, the IT estimate of time to collect the emails. On the legal fee side, this was a pure and simple decision by the city to have legal counsel review all the emails to ensure that there was no legally protected confidential information in the emails. Not having any idea how many pages would be created from 200 emails, whether there be 2 or 3 page long emails or a bunch of short ones. The city estimated 1.5 minutes per email. A subsequent request from Mr. Sellers for emails from 2 parties over a long period of time, I think, resulted in 600 emails. The 1.5 minutes was too long. In the end, we determined it did not take that long. However, the city still had legal review those for confidential information. So part of our process, I think, moving forward in discussing this would be to get some guidance as to who and how emails are to be reviewed for confidential or protected information, whether IPIB is interpreting 22.32 to put that obligation on city staff, the city manager from whom these documents were requested, a city clerk, maybe in a smaller community where they don't have those employees, maybe the mayor or the part-time clerk. So who makes the initial decision on what should or should not be presented to legal counsel for review, or should that be something presented to legal counsel for review initially? In this particular case, too, I would just point out Mr. Sellers immediately was expressing concerns about honesty, if you will, of staff, if staff were put in a position to review and respond to this request for emails. And that is another reason why IT was used to kind of remove the collection process away from staff to ensure compliance and completeness of compliance. So with that said, and with our disagreements with some of the comments and conclusions set forth in the complaint, we are more than willing to try to work with IPIB and Mr. Sellers to come to a reasonable conclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Questions or comments from the board members?
Joan?
And no comments.
EJ?
No comment.
Barry?
No comments.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
If we accept this complaint, I'm sure, Mr. Herman, you can work with Margaret to resolve some of your concerns about who makes the initial determination of what requires legal review. That's nothing further from me right now.
Jackie?
No comments.
Okay, do we have a motion on the acceptance order?
So moved. Joel?
This is Monica. I'll second.
Okay, moved by Joel, seconded by Monica. Roll call vote.
Corbin,
Aye.
Giovanetti,
Aye.
Lindahl,
Aye.
McCray,
Aye.
McHugh,
Aye.
Potter,
Aye.
Schmellen.
Aye.
Julie, that's 7-0. It passes.
Okay. The acceptance order is approved.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
Bye-bye.
The next item on our action agenda is Diana Sly and the Lorimore City Council. There's a final report. Margaret?
Yes, this is case number 22FC0053. Comes before you as an informal resolution final report. This complaint was filed on June 1st, alleging that the Lorimore City Council violated Iowa Code Chapter 21 on May 31st of 2022. It was accepted on July 21st of 2022. There's an informal resolution that the terms are listed there for you on the first page. Those were to be completed within 90 days of the approval of the informal resolution by all parties. It was signed by Ms. Sly on August 9th. The Lorimore City Council approved it on August 1st, and the IPIB approved the informal resolution on August 18th. The terms were to be completed no later than November 16th, 2022. However, the IPIB granted a 30-day continuation on December 17th because one council member had been hospitalized and unable to complete training. The new completion date was set for December 16th, 2022. Legal counsel for the council filed a report on December 15th indicating that the training, he personally had provided the training from the League of Cities to the remaining council member on December 14th of 2022. The terms of the informal resolution have been completed, and it is recommended that the IPIB dismiss this complaint as successfully resolved through informal resolution.
Okay, do either Diana Sly or someone from the Lorimore City Council have anything to add? Okay, I doubt if there are board member questions since this has all been finished, but let's go ahead and see if anybody has comments they'd like to make.
Joan?
No questions.
EJ?
No questions.
Barry?
Nothing here.
Joel?
No questions.
Monica?
No questions.
Julie?
Nothing from me.
Jackie?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion then to dismiss this as successfully resolved?
So moved, Barry.
This is Joan. I would second.
Okay, moved by Barry, seconded by Joan. Roll call vote.
Corbin?
Aye.
Giovanetti?
Aye.
Lindahl?
Aye.
McCray?
Aye.
McHugh?
Aye.
Pottorf?
Aye.
Schmellen?
Aye.
Julie, you have 7 in favor and 0 against.
Okay. The matter is dismissed as successfully resolved. That brings us to the last item on our action agenda, Tom Taylor and the Sibley Ochiden, I hope I pronounced that right, school board. A final or a report from Margaret.
Yes, this comes before you as case number 22FC0114 for an informal resolution approval. This complaint was filed on October 18th, alleging that the school board violated Iowa Code Chapters 21 and 22. It was accepted by the IPIB on November 17th. IPIB staff were to assist the parties in adopting an informal resolution. The parties have approved an informal resolution as described in the attached report by Brett Torsdahl, IPIB Deputy Director. The terms of this resolution are to be completed within 60 days of acceptance by all parties. Upon providing proof of compliance, the IPIB shall then dismiss the complaint as successfully resolved. It is recommended that the IPIB approve the proposed informal resolution, direct the IPIB chair to sign the informal resolution, and set the matter for compliance review in accordance with the terms of the informal resolution.
Okay, does either the complainant, Tom Taylor, or the respondent have anything they want to add? Nope. Let's see if we have any board member questions or comments.
Joan?
I am recusing myself in this item.
EJ?
No comment.
Barry?
No comment.
Joel?
No comment.
Monica?
No comment.
Julie?
Nothing.
Jackie?
No comment.
Okay, then we need a motion to approve the informal resolution and set the matter for compliance review.
This is EJ. I'd move it.
Second, Barry.
Okay, moved by EJ, seconded by Barry. Roll call vote.
Corbin abstains. Giovanetti?
Aye.
Lindahl?
Aye.
McCray?
Aye.
McHugh?
Aye.
Pottorf?
Aye.
Schmellen?
Aye.
Julie, that's 6 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention.
Okay. That concludes our action agenda. There are 4 matters listed as withdrawn for your information, but we don't need to take any action on. And pending matters are listed for your information as well. That brings us to committee reports. Communications?
No report.
Legislative committee? Margaret?
Yes. I would note under communications that the monthly column went out this month concerning open meetings and public records, and it listed our final case counts for the year 2022. On legislation, we have 2 matters that have been pre-filed. One, which is the amendment of Codes Chapter 2022, which adds the new subsection 22.43 that talks in terms of what lawful custodians should do upon receipt of a public records request. That was pre-filed on December 27th of 2022. It has been assigned a number. It's SSB 1036, and that was introduced on January 12th and assigned to the State Government Committee, and this is in the Senate, and the subcommittee is Holker, Viziano, and Conyer. And I have submitted a declaration in favor of this on the website on behalf of the IPIB. The other matter, which is amending Chapter 23 from 60 to 90 days, was pre-filed on December 16th of 2022. It's been given the legislative number, well, actually the LSA number of 1156, and that one has not been officially noted in the Senate or the House assignment of bills. I'm also reviewing SSB 1037, which is, I'm also following SSB 1037, revoking the gender balance on boards. Senate File 31 was the publication of public notices electronically, and Senate File 44, which is access to HOA financials and minutes, not because they specifically that we need to take any action or anything, but I just follow those things that might have some sort of an impact on us.
Okay. Anything from the Rules Committee? Daniel?
Yes. So there's currently a moratorium on rulemaking, but I am nevertheless reviewing our advisory orders from the past 2 years and checking for, potential rules that may need to be made. So I should have an update on that at our next meeting.
Okay. I guess that brings us to what would be an update on the executive director search. I kind of jumped the gun and covered that in board member or comments from the board chair. Any other questions or discussion about what we covered at that time? Nope. Okay, that brings us to office status reports. The annual report is here for adoption, but we're still missing bios on the new board members, Jackie, Joel, and Dan.
And we've got Joel's in and waiting on Dan and Jackie's. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, the report is ready to go. And it is reflective of the activities that we've done in the last year. Looks very similar to the previous reports that we've submitted. And then this is as required under 23.6 sub 12. We submit this to the governor and to the legislature on an annual basis.
Okay, you'll need a vote from us to approve it, but let's make the vote contingent on completion of the bios. We need to rattle Dan.
Julie, this is Barry. Just one question. Is there still a vacancy on the board?
Yeah, yes. There still is. I think Margaret's raised it several times with the governor's office, and I had lunch with Keith Lechtel a few weeks ago, and he'd written a letter as well urging action. I think they've had a number of candidates suggested to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barry, at my last count, we had 4, possibly 5 candidates that have been submitted. Anybody that has the ability to ask them to do that, it would be appreciated. I make phone calls or send emails about every 3 weeks. I'm probably wearing out my welcome. I was told by a staff member that it was not a high priority, but it has been open now for a whole year.
Well, now that the dust has settled on the election, maybe we'll get some appointment made. I know they've had several candidates brought to their attention by you, Margaret. It would be good for that spot. But meanwhile, the 8 of us will carry on. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the annual report subject to completion of the bios?
So moved, Barry.
This is Monica. I'll second. Seconded.
All right, moved by Barry, I think seconded by Monica. I don't think we need a roll call vote for these things. Let's just have a voice vote for approval. All in favor of approval of the annual report subject to completion of the bios signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? There you go. Contacts and activity. Margaret?
We just plug right along. We'll notice that our final for the year-end total for the calendar year of 2022 was 754, which was an increase of about 57 from the year prior. And we ended up with 131 formal complaints that were filed compared to 124 in calendar year 2021. We're still maintaining our efficiency designation that I harp on every month. So anyway, we're resolving matters that come before us as staff within the same day about 66% of the time, between 1 and 5 calendar days, 15% of the time, and 6 calendar days or longer, 19% of the time. As of calendar year 2022, contacts came that when we know who they come from. Sometimes we don't know. But media 9%, citizens 66%, and the government 25%. We're also continuing to have really strong traffic, I guess, on our website And that's running at about 85% new first time access to the website and 15% repeat.
I would add to that website, when I calculated out the numbers for the year for the annual report, we were up about 10,000 contacts on our website.
Whoa.
So it's
Okay. Fine. Go ahead. Did I cut you off, Brett? I'm sorry.
You did not.
Okay. Well, you're next up anyway. Finance and budget update, Brett.
Yeah, I'm upset about the budget. Our finances for the current fiscal year are great, and we will be able to we have room to be able to fund the new executive director getting started a pay period ahead of April 1st if that person is able to. So we can overlap Margaret and the new person, which I think will be beneficial in transferring some institutional knowledge. And hopefully I've been here now long enough to help with some of the rest of the ongoing institutional knowledge after we lose Margaret's expertise. In terms of the next fiscal year, and the legislature just started, the administrative subcommittee just met for the first time this week, and it sounds like there's a lot of reorganization going on within state government, and one of them that affects the administrative agencies is a combination of cybersecurity into a new agency or something. So our net effect is, our request is going to be reduced by $450 some odd, which was our contribution towards the OCIO portion for cybersecurity. So it looks like the governor came through with a request, a status quo request for us, and so that should be fine. We all want to raise, but we're good. I'll take that. My guess is the administrative subcommittee is favorable to us. Again, I haven't heard it otherwise. That's my
Thanks,
report.
Brett. I have to say it's somewhat surprising but terrific that state government allows the overlap of the new person with the outgoing, because that's going to be invaluable to the new person to getting up to speed. And Margaret will be available by phone as we limp along with a new director. Okay.
Yeah, and actually I'm not moving out of the state until probably June, July time frame, so I'll still be around.
She'll just block our number on her cell phone.
That's right.
Okay. Presentations and training. Margaret.
It was a really good training yesterday for the Iowa Association of Counties. That's their semi-annual new officers training, or maybe it's every 4 years, but I think it's every 2 years. Anyway, I've done it historically all the time. This one was very well attended. I mean, there was standing room only practically. It was just packed. So probably, I don't know, from where I was standing up at the podium, 200 people, 150 to 200 people, something like that up here. And of course, that always raises a ton of questions. So we've been busy with emails that come in since then, because I was only there for an hour, and it takes a lot to, you have to move really fast to get through what we're doing in an hour.
Good. And do you have a district court update for us?
Yes, Jack Swarm filed in, if you remember, we had a prior complaint that was dismissed involving him and I think it was the city of Mount Pleasant, yeah. And he filed an original suit in Henry County District Court. It's CVEQ 006708 against the city of Mount Pleasant. This was during the fall, and then there were some motions that were filed, and eventually the court determined that they were going to be looking at it not as a new filing, but as a review or administrative decision. And they were going to be reviewing our action and not accepting the initial complaint as part of this original complaint that he filed in Henry County. They dismissed out the city of Mount Pleasant and added us in. We were notified that we were going to be as a substituted respondent in this district court case at the end of December. And on the 17th, a pre-answer motion to dismiss the amended petition was filed. The AG's office, we've gone through we're on our third AG on this matter, because the first two have left the AG's office, and so right now we have John Lindquist. Lindquist is handling the case for the IPID.
Okay. Well, you're in good hands with John. Can you send us a copy of that petition?
Yeah, probably can. It's really convoluted, just to let you know, because it's got all of these strange. Well, he's filing this pro se. John Swarm is, so it's a little hard to figure out because he's refiled and added us, but the people that have read these kind of complaints before will know what they're reading, but it's pretty hard to follow. But we'll get that. We can get that sent out to everybody. Is that what you want, June?
Well, it was helpful. Yeah, I think everybody'd like to see it. It was certainly helpful of the district court to recast it as a judicial review, because otherwise it would have been clearly dismissed as without jurisdiction. But I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Okay, our next board meeting we have on our agenda would be on February 16th at 1, but as we discussed, we're going to move it up to an 11 o'clock start time to fit in interviews for executive director. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
This is Monica. I move we adjourn.
Okay. A second.
This is EJ.
This is Jackie. I'll second.
I think EJ spoke up. Moved by Monica, seconded by EJ. Voice vote. All who want to go home or hang up your phone signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
I have 223.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.